welcome to some episode number, because this isn't in the main continuity of Comics and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm Lumpy.
And this is the review show that reviews comics chronologically. Is it sometimes? Kind of?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Once in a while.
No, sometimes.
No,
it's kind of.
It's definitely kind of.
It's kind of. Yeah, that's the one. It's one of those taglines, I don't know. Alright, so we're doing something a little different here. We're going to be tackling a few origins here and there. I don't know when these are actually going to be released or anything like that, but so this is going to be like random. But we're
a lie, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. This is our first origin one, and there's no origin in it. But go ahead, it's
not an origin.
This could be first appearance. Maybe is this a first appearance episode, or is it an origin episode? Because I don't know nothing about his origin after this comic. Just so you know,
that's fair. This is
yeah. Like I said, you keep saying origin, and I think I read the wrong comic. So
no, you didn't.
I'm waiting to get in and talk to you about this because I'm like,
we're gonna do this one on the origin show, and then we're gonna have to come back and do Blade's origin because we don't know what his origin is after this. So
it's the one you're looking for is the one that says Blade's real origin story. Not this.
Not Blade shows up and does some stuff. That's all.
Just really confused. That's all.
When I say origins, I mean comic origin, like debut. His right, but first appearance.
Right, but it is definitely not his origin story.
Not at all.
No, not really.
No.
This
not
is
at
his
all.
First appearance.
If I picked this comic book up and didn't know nothing about Blade, I would put this comic book down and still not know anything about Blade except for he kills vampires.
Okay. Fair. I don't know what else to say. That's fair. But
I'm not even sure about that.
He kills vampires in the beginning.
He at least says he does a couple times. He definitely says he does a couple times.
Okay. I still don't know about any of that. I mean, yeah, they talk about it, and I guess he does kill, one or two.
Alright, so let's just go into it here. This is Tomb of Dracula number 10, and this is Blade's first appearance in comic books.
Yeah.
So, it was released April 17th, 1973, but for some reason it tells me a release date, and then it has a cover date of July 1973. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's why I sent you guys the picture earlier, and I was like, am I reading the right one or not? Because it's actually, on the way they release it in the digital stuff, this is part of the Blade 1972, even though this particular comic was in 73.
You know, we have been doing Batman from the 40s, and it's 10 cents. This is 73, and this one's only 20 cents.
Yeah, it is only 20 cents.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't realize it.
It's 30 years, and it only went up 10 cents?
That's a little strange, yeah. I wonder when it really took a hike.
Right.
But then again, this is still early Marvel, so who knows what DC is at this time.
Right, maybe DC's up there, and Marvel's just taking off. But this...
To be fair, this is Tomb of Dracula. This isn't Spider-Man.
I feel like the Universal monsters were a big deal in the 70s, though, too.
Maybe. I mean, I guess they were because the Hammer films were coming out then.
Some of them are awful.
Yeah, well. They're the reboots, though. Like the rebooted Marvel monsters. So it was like a craze happening in Universal then. Anyway, I think the cover artist is Gil Kane, Tom Palmer, and Gaspar Saladino, because it just says art by under the cover here, and then it has actual other names for the comic itself. The editor-in-chief was Roy Thomas, the writer is Mary Wolfman, penciled Gene Colan, inked by Jack Abel, colored by Petra Goldberg, lettered by Denise Vladimir, and edited by Roy Thomas. Yeah.
None of them names jump out to me at all.
No.
Not a single one.
No, that's not very popular, I guess. Anyway, let's see. I got the comic. So, Uncle Chris, since Blade's your guy, why don't you do the cover?
The cover's cool. It's a 70s, definite 70s Blade. He's got a little bit of a afro going on, and he's got wooden knives, and Dracula...
He says wooden knives, but it looks like a stake in his hand.
The one looks like a stake, and the other one looks like a knife.
Yeah,
Do you notice it?
The one in his bandolier looks like stakes.
They look like steaks.
Yeah, they do, but the way he holds it, you can kind of tell that they're a flatter blade with a round handle.
I feel like it's
blade.
It is kind of. I can't think of the word. They're on a boat, and that is in the comic, but I don't remember this panel in the comic.
Oh, it's a non-canon splash page.
There we go, non-canon. I couldn't think of the word canon, but it is kind of canon, right?
Kind of, but this is the cover, and the cover's not. This isn't like Batman, where the cover is never canon, and then we get that splash page in the first page. We don't get that splash page in the first of this one.
Yeah, this is a nice preview. Dracula's drawn well. I like how Dracula's drawn. He's carrying a woman who looks like she's either dead or passed out, and it says Blade the Vampire Slayer on the front.
Yeah.
I also want to point out the colors are very 70s. He's got like lime green glasses and lime green pants or bright red jacket. Like it's a very 70s.
The colors are someone's kitchen in the 70s. When you walked into their house, it looks it's very brighter colors. And I don't know why they do this a lot, but when someone has dark black hair, they always put blue in their hair. Do you notice that?
Was that just the ink back then? Like they couldn't do. I don't know. They use blue for the shadowing of black in all comics.
Yes, always.
Even in all the Batman ones, that's why Batman looks bluish when he's actually in a black suit. Eventually he becomes gray and blue, though, right?
Yeah, but if you think about it, like, especially back then, if you just have their hair, like, black, it just look like a black blob, like it was in a...
True. You have to have some kind of detail in it, so the blue makes it, like look like it's got a little shine on it.
Yeah. Also, up in the corner, in the circle where, like, the superheroes will be, it's just Dracula going blah.
Yeah, it's going blah, blah, blah.
But this comic, I know that this one here directly has Blade in it, but this series is actually Dracula. It has nothing to do with Blade.
Right, it's the Tomb of Dracula, and that's what I was thinking, too, when I was reading it. I'm like, so what do? They never catch Dracula? Like, he just comes in and kills people every week, and there's no hero?
Well, no, there's a couple of heroes throughout it, and he does get killed a few times throughout there. But they just introduce different like vampire antagonists and stuff. I'm
guessing like Van Helsing or something like that.
It's like the one in this one I think was Jonathan Harker in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
But there was I can look it up. But there's actually in the first issue of Tomb of Dracula there was I forget his name, a guy who accidentally revived Dracula, and that's how it started.
Now, in the beginning, you said Blade's my guy. Why? Because I mentioned that first scene in the first Blade movie 100,000 times.
You said that was Blade was like your favorite movie or something. So
I said that opening is one of my favorite openings of all time. That opening, of
whatever
the original
it was. I just figured, it's your week. I would give you Blade.
Here's a little peek behind the curtain. TJ was probably editing and heard me say that on one of our previous episodes.
I remember you saying it too.
I do. I say it all the time. That opening is great. Where they go into the nightclub and the blood starts coming out of the.
Is it Wesley Snipes?
Yes, Wesley Snipes is Blade.
Okay, I was picturing it. I haven't seen it in a long time. Which actually, it is a great movie.
I actually really like that first movie. The second two were, just if, but that first one was decent.
If you rewatch that second movie, it is terrible.
Is it really bad? I'm not sure I want to revisit it, to be honest with you, because I don't remember seeing it a whole lot. I remember seeing that first one a lot.
I was going to say, the first one is really good in my memory. I don't remember the second or third, so I'm just going to say that Blade is good and not rewatch it. Leave it at that for me.
I remember the second movie being good in my nostalgia, but going back and looking at it critically, my God, it is bad.
Yeah, it's probably not one you should be going through and like taking notes on and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's terrible. And it looks like the guy's name from the first one who releases Dracula's name's Frank Drake. So he's like he was like the main hero throughout the first few comics, I guess.
Okay.
So, just throwing it out there. But yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention. This is approved by the Comic Codes Authority. We haven't talked about them in depth yet because we didn't get to them in Batman. But I found it interesting, and I don't know if I said this on another podcast, but they banned vampires from comic books, the Comics Code Authority.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So
wow.
when they wax their stuff, that's when they start bringing in stuff like Dracula and stuff like this. But yeah, so
Morbius.
This stuff didn't happen until the 70s and stuff when they started to get really lax on what you were allowed to put in comic books.
Wow. So you weren't allowed to use vampires in comic?
Nope.
Do you know was there a reasoning, or you just know it was banned?
Because of what was it? Something to do with I want to say the satanic side of it.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna read up on that. I'm actually curious about that.
Well, I'm gonna do a deep dive into the Comics Code Authority as soon as it starts affecting Batman in the main show.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can read up on it.
That's good, because I'd like to know. Yeah.
But I just didn't want to touch on it until it actually starts affecting things.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, let's get into this proper. Stan Lee presents Tomb of Dracula. His name is Blade. And what?
No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to say, you said something.
No, I laughed.
Okay. Well, that's the name of the comic. I didn't say the name of the comic. Huh. I usually do that. I didn't do it this time. Anyway, a couple of, I was going to say kids, but they're more like adults, are getting off a ship, and they've come to America because their girl's parents didn't want them to get married wherever they came from. But before they could do it, a bunch of vampire bats swoop down and start to attack them. And then as they're about to kill them, Blade shows up. Who wants to talk about what Blade looks like?
I actually think he looks really cool here when he drops in.
Yeah.
Like him dropping in, he looks tough. He almost looks monstrous when he drops in here.
It's a good entrance. He's got a green 3/4 length coat on with his bandolier with his knives in it or stakes or whatever they are.
Is he wearing?
I like his yellow glasses.
I was gonna say, are they glasses or goggles?
They look like yellow sunglasses to me.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're yellow sunglasses. I don't. You could call them goggles. They're shaped like goggles. I mean, in this picture, the knife in his hand is a knife. But it's not the same as the stakes in his bandolier.
Well, he didn't pull that from the same, because he's got a side. You see the side one?
Right, that one comes out of his side sheath.
Yeah.
It's the same color. I don't know why they did it like that. But yeah, this one is definitely shaped differently than what's in his bandolier.
Yeah.
And of course, since 1973, Blade's got an afro.
It's a cool afro. I like his afro. It's a nice round afro.
He's actually drawn really well. I don't know. I like the way he's actually drawn. He's not overly his features aren't overly done. I think it's drawn really well.
I enjoyed the art in this entire comic. There's sometimes where they get a little lazy and they don't put a lot of detail into the vampires, but I thought it was drawn pretty well.
I agree. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, on the second page, there's a panel with no background and stuff like that. But
right.
For the most part, it's pretty decent.
I would say even in that one with the panel with no background, the details of the people in it are really well done.
Yeah. And the cats are back. Anyway. Blade swoops down and starts attacking the vampires with a teak knife. Teak wood knife.
Is that what it says? A teak wood?
Teak wood knife. I don't know
what that is.
Why teak matters, but...
So, teak is the wood that they use to build boats. Because it's not affected by water as much. It actually holds up a lot longer in water. So anytime you see, wood done on boat, railings and stuff, that's all teak. I'm not sure exactly why they did it for that, but I'm guessing it's because it's less likely for them to be affected by, the blood, or maybe they'll last longer for his killings. I'm not positive.
That's what I was going to say. They have a lot of blood on them, so they don't want them to warp, so they had to use teak wood.
Yeah.
Well, Blade kills one of the vampires, then kills the second one, and then the third one tries to get away, and he lunges at it, and he kills that one too. And
then he slaps one of them.
Does he?
It looks like he backhands one of the on the next page. After he kills the second one with the womp.
That's the first one.
Oh, that's the first one. Okay, then the next page, right at the top of the next page, it looks like he backhands a vampire.
I just thought it's because the narration said the knife lashes out again.
Oh, okay. Doesn't it look like it's the opposite hand?
Yeah, it looks like he backslapped him.
Yeah, it looks like he backslapped him.
Yeah, did he throw it?
It's still in his hand.
Possibly. Yeah, he's got, I don't know.
Well, but it's weird because now his bandolier looks like a belt, and you can't see the third one in his bandolier. So I'm wondering if he, with his other hand, he grabbed a different one. But I don't know. It does look like he slapped him. I mean, if you're talking about what it looks like he slapped him.
Anyway, with the 3 vampires dead, the one that turned into a bat and tried to get away starts to change back to a vampire and into a teenage boy. And then this old guy in a wheelchair shows up and says his name is Harker, right?
Harker. Yeah.
You know, Harker from the Dracula story.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
But no.
I have no idea.
You guys don't know?
Don't know Dracula story.
You don't know Jonathan Harker?
Not at all.
Yeah, he's the one that Dracula turns his wife into. It's the basis of everything behind it.
Yeah, I didn't know his name. I know what you're talking about, but I didn't know his name was Harker.
Yeah, Jonathan Harker.
What's his wife's name?
I don't remember.
Mrs. Harker.
I don't remember. And actually, I don't even think it was his... I think it was his fiancée, honestly, now that I think about it. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I either read or watched that movie. Anyhow, Harker shows up in his wheelchair and says he got a call that Blade was in this part of the country and that he just murdered a teenager. And and apparently the call happened last issue that we didn't read, so...
Right, we didn't see that. But Blade says what I would have said. He wasn't a teenager. He was a stinking vampire. He's better off dead.
Yeah.
Like, what does Harker want him to do? Cure him?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Does Harker have a cure for vampires?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of, no.
I was going to say, so what's he do? Chain him up?
Right. So, he's a teenager. He was also a vampire. Sorry.
Well, Blade doesn't really like this guy very much, because he tells him off.
Yeah.
He sa's, but Harker's like, you ruined my plan to kill Dracula. And he's like, you've had, decades to kill Dracula, and you still haven't done it.
You suck. He even says, oh, it's you, Harker. What hole did you crawl out of?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't like him.
So, he's like, you can't kill Dracula, but when I find him, I am going to kill him. And then Blade storms off, and Harker's like, we need to get him on our side. He would be a powerful ally. And then we cut over to a ship, and then the whole comic just takes a turn.
Yeah, it's cut over to a ship, and everybody's partying, and I don't know what's going on. And they told us nothing about Blade except for his name's Blade, and he killed 3 vampires.
Yes.
But, and he doesn't like Harker, apparently.
Yes.
We got a full-on 70s party going on this boat, though.
Yep. I was just saying, that's the end of Blade. Blade's gone.
So we cut over to a ship where a bunch of high society people are partying. There's rich people, movie stars.
It looks like they're smoking the reefers, maybe.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Drinking stuff, and they have a party. But the host of the party has a special surprise, a guest, if you will. And he introduces Dracula. And Dracula...
I don't think that's a good idea, right? You don't invite Dracula to your party.
Why not? It's part of the high society here,
Is it Halloween? If it's not Halloween, you don't invite Dracula to your party. Only time you can invite Dracula to your party is on Halloween.
I was just so confused by this. So Dracula's basically invited as, a celebrity.
Yeah,
so,
and, does everybody...
Is he a celebrity?
Do they have his phone number or something? Do they call him and say, hey, Drac?
I guess. I don't know, because they said they invited him because he's a living legend. And then he goes on and pretends to, smooze with them and he's not actually a vampire. It's more like having a blood disease and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff in these stories you guys hear. It's just...
Yeah. And I thought he was, manipulating them to, eventually use them for, later storyline stuff.
Yeah, a mind control thing. Come on, guys. I'm just here, cool dude, I'm hanging out.
But it's they got halfway through the story and decided, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, let's just have him drag some girl off and be done with it.
Yeah. So he shows up for 5 minutes, talks to 3 people, and says, I'm tired, I'm going to bed.
Yep.
He's big time. He big time them. That's what he did. He's like, I'm too cool for this room. I'm out of here.
I'm way too cool for this.
Yeah.
I'm way above all of this. I'm done. I showed my face, and I'm gone.
But one of the girls is very entranced by her, and he's very, Dracula, and so she's... fallen for his act, and he's like, why don't you come in for a nightcap? And she's like, sure, no one's ever talked to me like this before. And then she screamed. Mm-hmm. And because Dracula was thirsty and drank her blood. And so he leaves. He tells his servant that's with him to watch over the girl while he goes and takes over the ship.
Mingles? I wasn't sure what he was going to do. But he said her blood was very pleasing and he may want more, so he wants her to watch him.
Yeah,
watch
so
her.
He goes to the captain's quarters and takes out the captain and steers the ship off course and then goes...
Makes everybody fall.
Makes everyone fall and then shows up in there and starts telling them, now you gotta do as I tell you or I'm gonna turn you into vampires.
Yeah, why did he even go to his... Why didn't he just do that when he was standing in the middle of the
Right,
party?
why did he need to go and take the ship?
Yeah, I don't know
why did he even show his face at all? Why didn't he just show up on the ship, kill the captain, and do what he was going to do anyway?
You know what I don't like about this comic is the narration's not enough. It's too many words explaining the story when you could just have said Dracula's doing this and been done with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue in it.
Lot of dialogue.
Anyway, Dracula shows up back at the party, and one of the guests is like, oh yeah, I'm going to shoot you with this gun, because that's going to work. And he shoots Dracula with a gun, and he just laughs at him and throws him off the ship. And says he's dead because he fell into the water. I guess that's enough to kill him.
It depends on how far out in the ocean you are. If you're far enough out in the ocean, it is.
Well,
I agree, but
Yeah.
I don't really get it. Like, that doesn't really work, but fine.
And also, if he's so thirsty, why don't he just drink that guy's blood, too, instead of throwing him into the ocean?
he likes the taste of girl's blood, apparently.
Only if they have giant breasts like that girl that he took away.
Yes.
And a sexy dress on.
I mean, it's kind of Dracula's MO.
It really is.
think
It really
it is.
Like, I said it as a joke, but then I thought about it, and it really is what Dracula does. Dracula's kind of like a pervert, a little bit.
What I know of Dracula, yes, that's his MO.
Yeah.
So, all that happens, and then there's a speedboat, and hey, Blade's back!
Yeah, Blade's back, but for some reason, he's a scuba diver now.
Yeah.
We don't know nothing about his powers. We don't know why he wants to kill vampires, but apparently he's going to put on a wetsuit and breathing apparatus and swim to the boat. Why didn't he just drive the speedboat over to the boat?
My question is, how did he even know where Dracula was?
That's what I was going to say. So I'm guessing he tracked Dracula down somehow. How? They don't go into that. Did he know somebody that was setting up this party? What made him aware that he needed to get to this boat?
Because they were having a party.
Where else would he be? All right, we need to find Dracula. Who's having a party?
Yep, exactly. Anyhow, so Blade jumps in the water, scuba dives over to the boat, uses a harpoon gun to go climb up onto the boat, gets changed.
Well, you can't expect him to fight Dracula in a wetsuit. So.
Well, he does say it's hard to move in it.
Yeah. I gotta get rid of these threads fast.
Ain't too easy moving into them.
I would say that they're doing a typical, like, black speech, but that's how everybody talked in the 70s.
Yeah.
I was going to say they didn't. I was happy with that they didn't overdo that.
No, they didn't make him very. Yeah,
you know what I mean. They weren't trying so hard to.
They didn't play up the fact that he was, African American. They actually just threw him in there and didn't mention it at all.
Yeah, and I liked that.
Nice.
I thought it was a good thing that they didn't try to do that. So
yeah. Well, we're also used to the 40s.
Exactly.
So if he showed up in the 40s, there would have been some stuff said.
Right, but this was nice in the 70s. Like, okay. So Blade is a black male, but it was nice that in the comic they didn't try to go overboard and do all kinds of crazy stuff with him. Yes, his skin is black, but he's just a human. Well, I don't know if he's human. I actually have no idea.
We don't know what he is. Yeah,
what Blade is yet. So
I'm actually curious if this was before Shaft. Because
good question.
If it's after Shaft, it's impressive that they didn't do it because everything followed Shaft. That's the Shaft stereotype after he came.
There was a lot of blaxploitation in between that. Yeah.
So if this was before Shaft, it's still good, like you said. But if it's after Shaft, it's even more impressive.
Well, Shaft was 1971.
Yeah.
So okay. Anyhow, back with Dracula as he's giving them the ultimatum, and one of the guys is like, "I'm a Christian and I have a cross," and Dracula's like, "Oh no, a cross!" And then they all attack Dracula, and you get overwhelmed by these society people that he's been calling.
It's just regular people. Like, this guy's been chasing them for decades, and just these regular people attack him and knock him down.
because
they are an angry mob on top of it.
True. Somebody's yelling, "We need a steak."
Oh man! Back in the Dracula's room, his assistant's watching over the girl, he knows his master's in trouble, trying to debate what he should do. But before he can decide, the girl wakes up and knocks him out, and she's gonna go to her new master, Dracula.
So that guy's not a vampire then, right? That guy's just a...
No, I kind of took him as the hunchback assistant that Dracula usually has, whatever his name was.
Well, Renfield was the guy who he kept, like, in between. He was eating bugs and stuff, that guy.
Yeah. But I guess it was like one of those.
Like, just a guy he's got as, like, a slave.
Yeah.
It's a henchman. It's a... I don't know, almost a butler or something.
Yeah, but Dracula always has, like a servant. He doesn't really have henchmen, you know?
Right.
Well, this henchman stinks because she hits him with the lamp and knocks him out.
Yep. Back at the angry mob, they're trying to kill Dracula, but then he disappears. He turns... Yeah, I guess he just disappears. And then all of a sudden he's on top of the ship. But then Blade shows up, and then Dracula turns into a bat. And then I guess he flies by Blade really fast.
Yeah, I believe so.
Maybe.
I like when he turns into a bat and you see his head on the bat. It reminds me of Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, where it's still the head and the bat's like flying away talking.
Then Blade and Dracula fight for a little bit, and kind of. And then Dracula jumps off of the ship and turns to a bat again, and then flies back up on it, and almost bites Blade in the neck. But then the girl shows up, and that stops Dracula from biting Blade for some reason. And she's like, and Dracula's like, "What are you doing here?" And then Blade says it's all over, and then he throws the girl at Blade, and he turns into a bat again, Dracula, and says there's explosives on the ship, and you're all gonna die. And then he flies away. And then Blade's good.
I like the panel where he turns into a bat.
You said that already.
No, I like this one even more now, where his face goes like blue, and then he grows the ears, and then he turns into the bat. I like the drawing of that is really good.
Yeah, that is. I do like that too. The progression of him as Batman.
It was cool.
Into a bat.
Batman.
So
Batman.
It's
Dracula to a bat.
So it sounds like you guys like the art but hated the story.
No, it's not that I hate the story. I wanted to know
the story.
I wanted to know. I like this comic actually. I do like the Tomb of Dracula. I would like to check it out. I don't like the fact that like you shove Blade in there, but you don't tell us what he's doing.
I think actually what ruined it for me was TJ. TJ told me we were reading Blade's origin story, and then I read it and was like, that had nothing to do with Blade's origin at all. I get it now because it's his first appearance, but I was thinking it was going to be like how Blade came to be.
Yeah.
Usually an origin takes place like midway through a comic series. Why would I start there?
I don't know. You could have said Blade's first appearance.
When you
that
say
fine.
you
said
when
origin stories.
It is technically his origin story. It's his first story.
It's
not the origin of where he started. It's his first appearance.
Technically, in 1973, yes, this is.
This is Blade's first appearance. It's not his origin story. It's clear that it's not his origin story because even in this comic, they talk about just like he did other things before this.
They don't tell us his origin.
Whatever. I'm not arguing.
I'm just saying that I actually really like this comic, and I plan to actually read some more because I did like it. And now I want to, but I'm like, it's not Blade's origin.
Whatever.
So, are we going to do Blade's origin one day, or
no? We're going to have to.
Now we're going to have to because you guys made a big deal out of it.
How the hell can you read Blade's first appearance and then not do his origin someday?
I don't even know where to find that.
Well, you're going to have to figure it out now that you made us read Blade's first appearance. And no one knows anything about Blade from this. By the way, everyone, that's the end of the story.
Actually, it's not. But Dracula flies away. And Blade's like, we have to jump off this boat. One guy doesn't want to because he can't swim. And then Blade throws him into the water.
So Blade kills him.
And then everyone else jumps into the water except for Dracula's assistant who calls for Dracula and tell him to come help him, and then Dracula calls him incompetent and he doesn't need him anymore. And so the assistant blows up with the ship, and then it ends with all the people and Blade in the ocean. And then the next comic is going to be Voodoo over London. The end.
You think Blade's in the next one? You think they keep bringing him back, or you think he just comes back every once in a while?
I get right now. I have to get out of the comic though. Blade's next appearance is Tomb of Dracula number 12. So 2 comics.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
So they must go to that other guy for the next one or something.
Right. So.
Yep.
I thought I do like the Tomb of Dracula comic. I wish it was Blade's origin story, but it wasn't.
It was not. It was not.
Oh my God! Get over it.
Yeah. I went to look up some jokes. Are you ready, or are we done with this?
No, we didn't even do who was in it and stuff.
Oh, Blade's in it.
I mean, I just figured we would just end it abruptly like they did in this comic you made this week. Because it's just the end.
We'll just be floating in the ocean, and that's it.
Yeah. There's not really even, there's barely a story here, let alone an end of it.
I do feel like we jumped in the middle of something, too. Like, Harker was there, and, like, something had to have happened to lead up to this. Or what brought Blade here, who knows?
This was definitely just a setup episode for Blade, essentially.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you that. This was how they wanted to just, okay, we got this new character, let's use him to do this, and then we're going to basically, he'll be a star character somewheres.
Yeah.
No. I mean, are you doing appearances, Uncle Chris, or not?
I don't have them. I didn't even think about it, because I thought this was a bonus episode. I didn't even look them up. And I can't get out of this, this
Hit
comic
F11.
viewing. It's F11?
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. So, yeah. What? I don't even know the name of this comic book.
Tomb of Dracula number 10.
Okay, stall for a minute. Tomb.
So just to clear things up, you guys did like the story.
I will say this, I really actually enjoyed the comic. I thought there was nothing wrong with the comic at all. I thought the story was good. I thought that it was written really well. It is technically a to be continued, so it's really hard to know the story. It is what it is. You have to read on.
But as a to be continue, it does its job.
It definitely does its job. I agree.
Do you want to
curious to read?
Yeah, I was
on.
about to say. Do you want to read more to see what happens?
So
What was that?
I heard something weird too. I think we're getting haunted or something. So this
My cat is growling at me right now.
Really? Who I hear?
That's my cat.
That's creepy.
Why did she do that?
That is freaky as hell. Marvel Database, it has a little more information than I'm used to, so I'm gonna go into it here. Featured characters: Blade, Eric Brooks, his first appearance. Supporting characters: Edith Harker and Quincy Harker. Antagonists: Dracula's Legion, Clifton Graves, apparent death. Dracula, Vlad Dracula. Is your cat still growling at you?
Cat is throwing up in the background of you reading.
Nice. The cat doesn't like this comic. So then it says other characters: Amos, Ellen, Bobby, Lola, Gabrielle Trulane, Monica, Charlie O'Casey. There's a lot of names in this that I've never. Martin Scamp and Lord Torek. I'm not even going to tell you if their first appearance or not, because we're not even going to read this anymore. So then it says races and species, and it says humans, bats, vampires, rabbits, and demons.
Wait, there was a rabbit?
That's what it said. Oh, it says
a rabbit.
Rabbits mentioned and demons mentioned, it says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's it.
All right. Is that all? Anything else?
Well, I looked all over the place for a good vampire joke that I was going to tell on this one, but I don't know. They all sucked.